They will call me Yukimura, though I never bore that name in my life. My true name is Sanada Nobushige, but names matter little to the dead. And what matters now is the story. I sit beneath this pine, in the grounds of the Yasui Shrine. My armor is stained with the blood of my enemies and my own. I can hear hooves approaching through the smoke. The Tokugawa are coming for my head. Before I close my eyes for the last time, let me tell you who I was. I was born in the year 1567 in the mountains of Shinano province. The land was bleeding. For more than 100 years, the great houses of Japan had torn themselves apart in what you call now the Sengoku Jidai, the age of warring states. My father was Sanada Masayuki, a brilliant tactician, loyal vassal of the great Takeda Shingen. From the moment I could walk, my father taught me one truth. A small clan in a small province survives not by numbers, but by wits. My elder brother Nobuyuki would inherit the clan. I would have to make my own way. I was still a child when the Takeda were broken at Nagashino. I watched the world I was born into collapse. My uncles fell. The great houses crumbled. We Sanada were forced to bow first to the Oda, then to the Tokugawa, then to the Hojo. To survive, we bent like willow in the wind. In 1585, my father quarreled with Tokugawa Ieyasu over Numata Castle. To secure the aid of the Uesugi clan, he sent me, his own son, as a hostage to their lord, Uesugi Kagekatsu. I was 18 years old. I watched my own father gamble my life on a throw of the dice, but the dice fell our way. While I sat in Uesugi halls, my father defended Ueda Castle with 2,000 men against a Tokugawa army many times larger, and humiliated them. From a distance, I learned the lesson he had been teaching me all my life. Terrain and timing can defeat brute force. When peace came, I was sent to serve Toyotomi Hideyoshi himself, the peasant who became ruler of all Japan. He took a liking to me. He gave me a wife, Akihaime, the foster daughter of his trusted advisor Otani Yoshitsugu. Through her, I was bound forever to the house of Toyotomi. For a brief, sweet moment, I thought peace had come to Japan. Then Hideyoshi died. His son, Hideyori, was only a child of 5, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, patient, cunning, ruthless Ieyasu, moved to seize what was not his. In the year 1600, Japan split in two. The eastern army of Ieyasu against the western army of Ishida Mitsunari, loyal to the Toyotomi. My family gathered in a small inn at Inubushi, my father, my brother Nobuyuki, and I. We faced an impossible choice. Ieyasu had ordered every clan to declare allegiance. To choose wrong was extinction. So we did the unthinkable. We chose both sides. My brother Nobuyuki, whose wife was the daughter of the great Tokugawa general Honda Tadakatsu, would ride with the East. My father and I would ride with the West. If we lost, Nobuyuki would survive to carry the Sanada name. If we won, my father and I would restore our clan to glory. Either way, the Sanada would endure. I will not pretend it was an easy parting. My brother and I embraced as warriors who knew we might next meet on opposite sides of a battlefield. My father and I returned to Ueda Castle. There we waited as Tokugawa Hidetada, the heir of Ieyasu himself, marched upon us with 38,000 soldiers. We had 2,000. For days we fought. We baited him. We ambushed his columns. We harassed his supply lines. We made the heir of the shogunate look like a fool. He delayed so long that he missed the great battle at Sekigahara entirely. But the West lost without us. Mitsunari was beheaded. The Toyotomi cause shattered. My father and I were marked for death. It was my brother who saved us. Nobuyuki and his father-in-law, Honda Tadakatsu, pleaded for our lives on bended knee, until Ieyasu commuted our sentence. Instead of execution, we were sent into exile to a tiny village in the mountains of Ki called Kudoyama, stripped of our lands, stripped of our titles, stripped of everything but breath. For 14 years, I lived as a shadow. 14 years watching my hair turn gray. 14 years writing letters to my brother and old retainers, begging for money because we had nothing. My children were born into poverty. My wife bore our sufferings without complaint. In 1611, my father died in that village. Sanada Masayuki, the greatest tactician of his generation, died forgotten in exile, in a hut at the edge of nowhere. I buried him with my own hands. I thought I would die there too, a forgotten warrior, in a forgotten place, in a country at peace beneath the Tokugawa boot. But the Toyotomi were not yet dead. In the autumn of 1614, an envoy arrived at my hut, bearing 200 pieces of gold and 30 kan of silver. He needed me. I slipped past the Tokugawa watchman in the dark, my son Daisuke at my side, and I rode for Osaka. I was 47 years old. My body had softened in exile, but my mind, my father's mind, was sharp. When I saw Osaka Castle, I saw at once its weakness. The southern approach, where neither rivers nor moats gave proper protection. So there I built a fortress, a crescent-shaped barbican of earth and timber, bristling with watchtowers and arquebusiers. I called it the Sanada Maru. When the Tokugawa came at us with 30,000 men, my 7,000 red-armored warriors broke them. We threw them back 3 times. We humiliated the Maida. We bloodied the Aiwi. The mightiest army in Japan learned that an old man and a wall of earth could stop them dead. Ieyasu sent envoys to me with offers of bribery, the entire province of Shinano, 400,000 koku of rice. If only I would abandon the Toyotomi. I laughed, and I nailed his letter to the wall of the castle, that all might see the shame of the would-be shogun. Ieyasu was patient. He could not break our walls, so he tricked us. He proposed peace, and while his men filled in our moats, every one of them, the inner moats too, we slept. When the summer campaign came in 1615, Osaka Castle stood naked. I knew then that we would die, so I resolved to die for something. On the 7th day of the 5th month at the field of Tennoji, I gathered 3,000 warriors, all in red armor, all bearing the 6-coin crest of the Sanada, the 6 coins, the toll for the boatman who ferries the dead across the river. We were already ghosts, riding to battle. I gave my command. The time has come. Our target is Ieyasu's head, and his head alone. We charged. We carved through Honda, through Matsudaira, through the personal guard of the shogun himself. We pushed through 150,000 men toward a single target. We toppled Ieyasu's command banner, a thing no one had done in 40 years, not since Meika Tagahara. They say old Ieyasu drew his blade, prepared to take his own life, but I was old, and I was tired. And there were too many of them. My horse fell. My son was somewhere behind me, fighting his own last fight. My spear was broken. I sat down beneath this pine, in the grounds of the Yasui shrine, and I waited. A samurai of the Echizen approached. Nishio Nizamon was his name. He did not know me. He saw only an old warrior in red armor bleeding into the earth. I looked up at him. I smiled. I am Sanada Nobushige, no doubt an adversary worthy of you, but I am exhausted, and I can fight no more. Go on, take my head as your trophy. And so the Crimson Demon of Osaka was no more. They tell my story still, 400 years on. They call me a hero who appears once in 100 years. The veteran general Shimazu Tadatsune called me the #1 warrior in Japan. Even my enemies, the Tokugawa themselves, praised my loyalty. because loyalty was the foundation of the peace they built upon my bones. The name Yukimura was never spoken in my life. It was given to me by storytellers, decades after my death. Perhaps because Nobushige belonged to history, but Yukimura belongs to legend. I am the last hero of a dying age. I fought not because I believed I would win, but because some causes are worth losing for. Some banners are worth dying beneath. Some heads are worth raising one's spear toward, even when the spear must fall. If you remember nothing else of me, remember this. A man's worth is not measured by his victories. It is measured by what he stood for when victory was impossible. I am Sanada Nobushige, and the world has remembered.
That's the end of this video. Would you like to see more of it? I hope so. Let me know in the comments.